Okay, so we're going to put the suspension back in. See how quick I can do that. So basically, if you take the suspension out for any reason, you want to make sure that you check a bunch of things before you put it back in. You want to make sure that you check the tightness of all the bolts that you can see. All of the shock bolts. You want to make sure you check the front arm bolts. You want to make sure that you check the bolts on all of the idler wheels. These little 10mm head bolts, you want to make sure you check those. If you have an 09 and these are rivets, you need to replace them to bolts. You want to make sure that you check your limiter strap. You want to make sure that you check your sliders. If they're under the wear line anywhere, you want to make sure you replace those. You want to make sure that your Allens back here are tight, that none of those are bent. You want to check your bolts on all the suspension. You also want to spin all your wheels. Make sure that they spin straight and true, and that there's no grinding or crunching or wiggling. You want to make sure, if on the trail sled, that you check your axle bolts, that they're straight, and that the couplings that they push against are also straight. You're looking for anything bent or cracked. You're looking for cracks in this area, cracks in this area. So take some time while the suspension's out to check all those things. Then before you put it in, you want to make sure that you take these bushings. They're different for the front and the back, so you can't mix them up. You want to make sure that you put a bunch of grease on it, like I have on this one. That way when you put it in, it stays in. It doesn't really need the grease because they're self-lubricating bushings, but if you put the grease on it, then they'll stay in. And do the same with the back. You also want to check these retainers here. There's a little Allen in the bottom. Every once in a while that loosens up. So make sure that those are pushed in tight. That keeps the wheels on. Those should be in snug, and then the Allen should be tightened. These wheels, same thing. No wheels should be warped or bound up or any kind of noise from the bearings. Once you've done all that, the suspension's ready to put back in. The sled's still on its side, which is in the right position to put the suspension in. I'm going to put it in the front first, and then I'll drop in the back and feed it around the cogs, which takes a second. And the way that the bolts will go in is this bolt will go in first, this bolt will go in second, this bolt will go in third, this bolt will go in last. That's a basic idea. I don't think it will really take too long by myself. What I might do to save time is have someone on the other side that when I line the suspension up, they can push this bolt in. If you're by yourself, all you really have to do is from the front, once you get this bolt in, when you line it up, you can just drop a screwdriver or a punch or whatever you want down through this hole to line up in the tunnel. And then you can go around the other side and push your bolt up through if you're all by yourself. That's pretty much the easiest way. But to save time, I'll have someone just push that up in while I'm kind of holding the suspension. So that's a basic idea. Once we do all that and tighten everything up, we should be okay. Now when we're tightening things, we likely won't, I might not use the air wrench because you don't want to over tighten stuff. You want to do the final tightening by hand. So that's it. Now we'll try to put it in. Alright, we'll pick the suspension up. Front in first. Be careful not to drop anything. Wiggle it, go past all the nuts in the track. Make sure the top wheels go where they should. Get the Hyfax in its slots. Now the first bolt is this top one right here. All the wheels are in. Okay, top bolt is in. Got to use a flashlight to get it lined up. And get the bottom one in. I have my assistant down there. All right, push. We got it lined up. Perfect. All right, that should be it. Now just try to push straight. Okay, hold it there, hold it. Now I just have to take the nuts and the washers and put them on. Okay, you're done. You're all set. So I put these on. Yep, just going on that one. Don't look at the camera. Now the next part, sometimes you have to separate the tunnel a tiny bit to get these bolts in, but I can step on it here and just lift. It's pretty flexible. So I'm going to lift it up, hook it on this, give it a little lift, goes in. I can just push the wheel easily to where I need to go, which is right there. Okay, that's it. Now I'll just tighten it a little bit. And it should be basically more or less good to go. Hold on. Okay, now it'll take longer because I don't know. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to tighten this a little bit so I can drop the sled back down. Okay, now I'm going to drop the sled down. And I'll drop it easily so it doesn't pop out on the other side. I'll just set it down easy. Now I have my other bolt, which is right here. All I need to do is line this up over on this side. I'll take this out. So that's out. Sometimes you have to lift the tunnel up just a little bit. Like that. Okay, now once that's started in there, I have to get my wrenches and tighten it, which I'll do right now. But I didn't leave my wrenches out, so we have to pause it, check the time. There we go, while I get my wrenches.
4 minutes, 21 seconds.
All right, stop. Okay, so now I found my wrenches from working on my suspension, so now I can put this back together. And she continued on with stop. So I need to move this over a little bit to get some room. And basically I'm just going to tighten this by hand. So I'll go to the other side. Tighten this one by hand. Okay, they just need to be, okay, that's good. Both bands are tight. That's it, done.
7 minutes, 24 seconds.
Okay, not too bad. All right, that's it. She's done and ready.